Is Biden all there? Who bombed Syria then? Where's our stimulus check? Is it a good idea to bring immigrants into the United States while we don't even have jobs for American citizens? Silver is now $26 an ounce, but you can't find it. Is it manipulated? Maybe. And lastly, on the gun corner, so you're telling me that you're taking away my rights for my own protection. Okay, buddy. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. Transmitting from sunny Southern California, capital of entertainment, beautiful ladies, and great whiskey. You're listening to the Hot OTM Podcast, where we discuss politics, guns, entertainment, music, and all the controversial topics we can find. Here are your hosts, Hector Robles and Christian Mejia. Where is this great leader? Where is this great quarterback? Where is the president? Well, apparently there's some live stream that was happening where he was talking to the Democrats, and he said, "Now I will take your questions." And guess what happened? They cut off the stream. Why are they hiding Joe? That's my question. Why have we not seen him give a speech? Why have we not seen him at all? I think it's because he's not there, man. I really think that he is not there. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Depending on what platform you're watching us on, if you are on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment. All right, my question here is, if Biden isn't fully up there, who bombed Syria? It's because somebody's pulling the strings, but the real question is who's behind this? Because allegedly, even Camel Toe wasn't. She was a little confused and pissed off too when it happened. So my question is, who's pulling these strings? And you and I aren't privy to that information. But it's very concerning. It's very concerning that this guy's not there. And even the Democrats are thinking about taking away the AKA football away from him because they don't trust him. So it's a clusterfuck. That's really what it comes down to. So we'll go ahead and get started here with some of the issues here with Biden. And not that I'm just wanting to rag on this guy, but it's a serious concern. Everyone was talking shit on Trump, but a senile old man running the greatest country in the world, having the nuclear codes, is perfectly fine. Like, that's common sense. Like, explain to me how that is common sense. All right, well, we'll move on from there. I think it's been something like 43 days, and he hasn't done his address to the country. I don't know. I think this guy sounds... I don't know. To me, it sounds like it's about... I think he's about to shit himself, if you ask me. I think he's that senile. So they probably don't want to put him out there. But the other thing, too, is why aren't we allowed to see anything with Joe? Like, why? These questions are just burning in my mind. I think we kind of all know that this shit's a setup. Like, it's a setup. And on top of that, why do they have all of these people still in Washington, D.C.? To protect Joe? Like, I don't understand. And then I think the news was saying that because some Q thing with there was going to be an insurrection and all this. I think those guys are bigger fucking Q fans than anybody else. Like, most of us just listen to that saying shit and say fucking crazy fucks. And these guys are riding the balls of Q thinking this shit's real. Like, who the fuck is the demented one here? Fucking, these guys are crazy. But yeah, it looks like, I mean, if you were to see the capital of a country with barbed wire and armed people and military outside in any other country besides the USA, would you not think that that's a dictator? I mean, I would think that. You put that shit, and what would we be saying if Mexico did that, I mean, what do you think we'd be saying? Like, oh shit, there's a dictator. Or if they were to do that in, I don't know, China. Well, we obviously know that those guys are dictators, but anyway, my whole point is some shit's, they're not telling us what's up with Biden, and Biden's fucking a goner, man. Like, somebody else is pulling these strings here. All right. One of the biggest questions I have in regards to Biden's strategy, obviously we're all waiting here for the stimulus. What happened to that? I thought as soon as Biden would get in, everyone would get their $2,000 or $1,400 since you already got $600. But nothing's happened. And it's so shitty. I mean, they have control of everything, and they still can't pass that money for you and me, or you and I, to help our families, while they're the ones who told us you can't fucking go work. You got to shut it down. I just cannot understand. I do not understand. They have all the power and all the control, and you can't pass that. It's fucking insane, man. I think that they're purposely waiting to the very last moment before people fucking start rioting, before they give you any crumbs. I really think that's what's going on. All right. Another big thing that's happening is that there's thousands of immigrants at the border right now. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're actually wearing Biden shirts saying, "Let me in." How did these people end up with white shirts that are asking Biden to let him in? If they walked 10,000 miles or however many thousand miles that they walked, they got some fresh, clean white shirts. Who is giving them these shirts? This shit ain't free. Somebody's giving them these shirts. So who? What's the point? What's the angle? I don't know, man. In this thing, I'm not anti-immigrants because obviously my family's immigrated to this country, and there's a lot of great people that have been immigrants that have brought a lot to this country. However, we're in a pandemic. You have thousands of people that are flooding this country, or that are coming to this country when there's no jobs for Americans. Like, there's literally no jobs. People, that's why they're passing all these stimulus, is because people can't work. You won't let them work, but you think that it's a good idea to bring in, I don't even know how many thousands. Let's just say it's 10,000 immigrants, and just let them in and say, go ahead and have fun. I mean, where are they going to go? Where are they going to sleep? Where are they going to eat? Let me see. Oh, the government's going to take care of them. I think that's called socialism. I think that's how you bring in communism, by making that issue. I think they're creating the fucking problem. This is like thinking a few steps ahead. They bring these people who can't take care of themselves because they shut down the economy and there's no jobs. So then they bring these people that need them to give them free shit. Socialism. And then those people are voting for these same socialists, and before you know it, we're there in fucking Venezuela and China, and we have a communist shit fucking pile of shit already. So I think that's kind of the long game of this situation. I don't really think these guys care. I don't think they give a fuck about humanity or anything like that. I think it's an angle and it's a play. How can we stop this? We can't, really. I mean, these politicians are fucking out of control. I mean, I guess you can talk to your local politicians, blow up their phone. I guess that is a possibility if you push back that way. But I think that this angle is taken from the very, very top. And by the top, I don't mean the President Biden, because that guy's fucking goner, like I mentioned. I think it's whoever's pulling those strings. Those people are the ones that want to essentially enslave all of us, because then if there's no small business, you're dependent on them. And I think that's the whole play for this. So that's kind of my little rant for Biden for this week. Now on to silver. Okay. So I've been watching kind of the markets on silver, and all of my stock in silver mining companies, it just tanked and crashed. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So the spot price of silver has gone down. It's plummeted to like, as of the filming of this, about $26. However, you can't buy it. Go to AppMex, go to JM Bullion, go to Money Metals, any of these companies, and you can't buy it at $26 or even $30. These guys are charging $35, and I think AppMex was somewhere around $40 for an ounce of silver. So they're telling you that it's only worth $26, but you can't buy it physically for anything under $35. So obviously, it's the paper market that they're saying is worth that, and not the physical market. There's a clusterfuck of shit. This kind of brings me into thinking about the inflation, and I was talking to our producer about that just a few minutes ago in regards to how long can they keep this game going? Because at the end of the day, they can't keep on printing money, and people are not going to have this confidence with this whole situation for much longer. I don't really know how much longer they can keep this Ponzi scheme going, but they've obviously kept it going a lot longer than I thought they could, so they may be able to keep it kind of going longer. But I don't know. For silver, I play the long game, so I'm holding on to my silver because I think that this is manipulation, like always. Pretty much all these stock markets are manipulated in one way or another. But in regards to silver, it's very obvious, because if it's supposed to be $26, you should be able to get it for a couple dollars above that, and you're not doing that. And these premiums are pretty crazy out there. So I just kind of wanted to bring up that silver market. Now we go into the... All right. So this week, there's more bills that they're trying to pass. This shit, honestly, I think they're just trying to throw as many bills on the wall to see what sticks. There's a new bill. Well, it's like they're rehashing these bills and trying to push everything through. And something that was crazy was these bills hadn't even been put through the official government website. They're pushing them so fast that they don't put them up on the website. It's just like you can't even read what they're trying to push through. This is how fast they're trying to get shit through. And then I'm thinking, aren't we in the middle of pandemic? And don't they have stimulus shit that they need to pass? But they're trying to introduce gun legislation? What the fuck? How the fuck does that make any sense? But anyway, coming to this gun situation. So they have HR 8. And something called HR 1446. HR 8, I believe, is universal background checks. The key to this situation, because most people will say, well, yeah, you want people to get background checked to make sure that you're not selling the gun to criminals, blah, blah, blah. But the problem with this is that the background checks right now here in communist California, they make you do the background check and they hold your weapon for 10 days. So for 10 days, you have to wait before they release the weapon. If the FBI it's called the NICS system, if they don't come back and provide confirmation or a decline, you can take your weapon, because it's basically they're holding up your right to own and possess a gun. And obviously there's no red flags, so you should be cleared. But with this new bill, what they want to do is they want to say, okay, we're going to have it for 10 days. And then if we don't get back to you, then you have to petition. So basically you're guilty until you prove your innocence. I thought this was America. Obviously, this is some fucking socialist shit they're trying to push through. And it's just 1 inch at a time, man. These guys are trying to fucking take your rights. And there's other shit in there as well, but I just kind of wanted to give a small brief here because there's a lot of content this week that I wanted to talk about with this gun situation. The second part was HR 1446, and this is no private party transactions. So you would think it's a good idea, but again, the devil's in the details. these guys are not telling you what's in those details. They won't even post the legislation on their official government website. Why? What are they hiding? I mean, if it's so common sense, what's the problem? Show me the legislation, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But obviously, it's not common sense. It's these guys trying to fucking shove shit down your throat. And on top of all of this, I sit down and I ask myself this. And this is the real question. What's the whole point of all this legislation? I mean, what's the point of it? What is the end goal? And then we can break down the small steps, right? So the end goal allegedly is for the safety of our community, and if I'm understanding this correctly, to lower the deaths of gun violence, right? Okay. So let's take a look at the numbers then. So you break down those numbers, okay? 60% is by suicide. So why the fuck would we be looking at the 2% and how to stop 2% of people from dying instead of 60% of people if they really want gun control to protect our community? Let's take the biggest piece of the pie and find out what is happening there. But the reality is they don't give a fuck about you and me. That's not what this is about. This is not about saving people. This is not about protecting the community. This is about taking your rights. This is about taking and controlling your shit. It's not about them protecting and not wanting deaths by gun violence. Because obviously if they cared about that, they would say, what is the largest gun violence situation? And then we would attack that. Basically at this point, it's to take away your Second Amendment. That's really what it comes down to. A lot of people will say that this is crazy. Nobody wants to take your rights, and it's just common sense, right? I say that it's my God-given right to defend my family. It's not negotiable. That's really what it comes down to. It's just like your freedom of speech, that you have it protected. You know, I have my right to bear arms protected by the Constitution as well. If we're going to throw away the Constitution, then I think that's where our country will deteriorate. The one thing I would ask you is to remember how every single right and the security that you have for your family, and this is, I mean, just sit there and think about this. All the security and all these rights that we own, they were all won through the barrel of a gun. So I think that these politicians know this, they realize that, and they don't want you and I to have that power. Because once they take that away, then they can come in and take away your freedom of speech. If you're saying something that they don't like, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Stab me with a fork? Get the fuck out of here. You know, so I think that that's kind of the angle on this. These politicians don't give a shit about your children and my children. I mean, they could care less. And especially right now in the middle of a pandemic, that's what they're caring. Not about feeding all the starving children because they closed down the entire fucking economy. They care about the 2%. And I'm not saying that it's not an issue, because it is an issue. But most of these I mean, murder's already illegal. It's already on the books at the law. So if laws are the answer, then why are people still getting murdered? I mean, fucking common sense, right? That's I'm just saying that's fucking common sense. But you can't, there is no common sense with these people. There's no negotiating. That's why I refuse to give 1 inch of this shit, because they won't take 1 inch. Then they'll come for the next inch. Then they'll come for the next inch. And before you know it, they're taking away all your rights. And then they're saying, you know what common sense is? Why do we need guns? Why does anybody need to protect themselves? Why the fuck do we give guns to police officers? Oh, because it helps them protect themselves. Oh, okay. And if you notice that all these politicians, they all have armed security. So they think that guns are good when it's protecting them. but they're not good when they're protecting you. So fucking go figure there. All right. So I'm going to move on to something on here that I thought was really interesting. I was looking last night. I was sitting there doing some research, trying to find out the statistics for the U.S., right? What's like the 2020 statistics. And I couldn't find a lot of this stuff. And I was able to pull up some statistics, and the headline said, U.S. gun deaths are at their highest rate in 40 years. But in very small writing, once you start reading the article, you realize that it's impacted by suicides. So we're closing down the fucking economy, and all these suicides are skyrocketing, and these guys are saying that our gun deaths at our highest rate in 40 years. Why? Because of suicide. Not because people are fucking killing each other. It's because they're so frustrated that they're killing themselves. So how the fuck is this gun violence? If you stab yourself, is that violence? If you punch yourself, is that domestic violence against yourself? You don't see those statistics. You don't see people saying, oh, he hit himself, he beat himself, and we should add those numbers to the domestic violence numbers. Like, no, it's fucking stupid. That's what it is. And one thing that I noticed is I was watching some videos because I'm like, you know what? I need to be open-minded. And I know I'm kind of ranting here about it's not just the news with the bills that are being passed, but it's just that it really made me think about, like, okay, well, why are all these bills being passed? So I started watching a couple of videos, and I saw some video of some lady, and it was from 2018, I believe. It was happening. It was a protest that was happening in Los Angeles, so here locally where I live. And this lady was like, we need to save our children. The NRA cannot be giving any money to the politicians. And I was just thinking, okay, well, how does she plan to save the children? And she was saying that we need to get rid of assault weapons. And then the guy asked her, hey, what's an assault weapon? And she couldn't even tell you what an assault weapon is. She's like, I don't know, those machine guns. And it's like, well, wait, machine guns are highly regulated. And most of these like school shooters and these morons that are doing stupid shit, they're using semi-automatics. So it's, you know what also is a semi-automatic? A Glock. A Glock's a semi-automatic. You can put a 100-round magazine in there and you would be able to kill just as many people. So they asked the lady, like, hey, so do you think that guns should be illegal? And she says no. And it's like, these people don't even understand what these guns are. They don't even understand what they're trying to ban. They don't understand the numbers. They just see the propaganda that's being pushed by the media. And they're like, that's bad. Let's stop that. That looks scary. That looks bad. But at the end of the day, I just think that in order for us to understand each other, we need to kind of discuss this. And I think that that's kind of the problem, that they are refusing to have an open dialogue about this so we could explain our point of view. And if you really are interested in lowering deaths, how about we start with the highest part of these deaths, which is the suicides. And that's all I've got for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're trying to grow this community here, and I hope that I have earned your subscription. And if I did not earn it right now, maybe I can earn it in the next episode. So thank you so much again, and you guys all have a good night. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share. If you would like to donate, please join us on Subscribestar. Thank you again from all of us here at the OTM Podcast, and you have a great night.